Okay, here's my prototype pneumatically loaded bridge loading device. What you're seeing here is half of one grading's worth of loading. I ordered 8 rams, but they only sent me 6 and 2 are on back order. So I made half of the system just so you can see how it works. It consists of 8 of these rams, which are equally pressured because they're all working off of the same pressure in the hose. And it's starting to rain, which isn't a very good idea. Anyways, these will be mounted about 10 inches apart, and I've got 2 arms that will have 4. And the way this works is that on the end of these things is a Schrader valve, just like you see on your typical bicycle. And the way you pressurize the system is with either a bike pump or a compressor. And the bike pump I have here really isn't good for high pressures, but we'll do this. The other thing is, on the other end of the system is another Schrader valve, and I do have a digital pressure gauge. And the way you can tell what force you have on the bridge is by measuring the pressure that's in the system. The final system will have a built-in pressure gauge that will constantly monitor the pressure, but those darn things are expensive, and I'm actually negotiating some on eBay right now. But anyways, this crosshead frame then gets connected down to some weight farther down. In this case, I'm working just across the bottom of my workbench. But at the competition, what we do is have a pallet full of weight down here, which would be a couple of different ways we could do this. We could do it in excess of the amount of force, the 1250 that goes there, and this way the weights never leave the floor or move at all. Or you make it right at the 1250, and then you know that you have the pressure force when this thing lifts off. But with a constant pressure monitoring device and a hand pump, you should be able to get the force exactly where it needs to go without going over at all. And because all we need is 88 pounds of pressure. So anyways, this one only shows 2 rods, one on each side going down to the load. The one that I will finish when I get all my rams actually will have 4 rods, 2 on each side, which will make the platform a lot more stable than what we have here. So what I'm going to do now is take a little break and set up the camera, and we'll do a demonstration of how this works. Alright, I'm going to show you how this works. We have some of our preload on the center platform. We have 2 of 4 cross members that will go on a grading, and we have 1 of 2 bars that go down and connect to the weight that's farther down, and this represents the bridge deck. Okay, I have 2 ends to this. One end will have a much better pressure gauge than the one I currently have, but this is what I have available right now for the demonstration. And then we'll have some kind of a manual pump. In this particular case, the pump is of questionable quality, but it'll be good enough for our demonstration purposes. So we're going to attach the pump to the system. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to connect the pressure gauge so that we can constantly monitor this. And then as you apply force on this, the rams will all go up, and they all have the same pressure on them. And this won't happen when we have 4 of them. We have our weight way off center here. Here we go. When we have the 4 of them across, these 2 things will engage and keep it nice and level. So in this case now, what we're doing, notice it quit moving, but because it's working against the load that's farther down in the thing. But as I apply pressure to this, it increases the force that's being exerted on the bridge deck. Again, when we have the full thing, it'll be a lot more even. But it really doesn't matter whether this platform stay level or not, because the force in all 4 rams is identically the same. But we'll just go ahead and keep adding force, force, force. In the competition, as we do this, we have a running total on the pressure gauge, which I'm actually negotiating some on eBay right now, till we get to the force that we want. And we just measure this, and I've got about 46 pounds per square inch pressure acting on this right now. We need to take this up to 88, which as you can see, if we're going to do it manually, is going to take a little bit of time to do, which is fine. Nice and slow and even loading with a better bike pump than this little one that I use for emergencies on my bicycle when I'm riding. And I'm up to about 56 pounds now. But anyways, we keep going like this. If we are tying this bar into loads that exceed the 1250 that we need on our single grading, then all we have to do is get the pressure up to about 88 psi, and the bridge is fully loaded. The weights never have to leave the ground. The other approach to it is put exactly the right amount of weight that you need on the bridge, and then when it lifts off the ground, then you know that you can do that. I'm using 4-inch rams here, so even the bridge deflects 2 inches. I still have a little bit of reserve capacity for the for lifting it off the ground. And then again, to unload the bridge, simply release the pressure, and down she goes, and you're done. And these tubes can be quite long and far away from the bridge, so that nobody has to be anywhere near it during the load sequence, and everything can be automated. Another thing I've been thinking about trying is buying one of those little 12-volt compressor pumps, and because those really don't operate very fast either, and that might save the manual labor. But hey, this manual labor is a lot less than loading all those weights on the grading. Anyways, that's the concept. When I get the other rams, we'll complete building a complete set for one grading, and you'll see better what we're doing. The rams only cost about 35 bucks a piece. The tubing is negligible. The fittings are about $5 or $6 for a pack of 5, and voila. Oh, and the nipple fittings here are less than $5 at your local hardware store. So building this contraption is rather inexpensive. The only thing I found that's real expensive so far is the pressure gauges that I'm looking at. Retail for about $450 a piece. However, I might be able to get them for about $150 on eBay, because there's 2 of them available right now. So anyways, that's my concept.